Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do a webcam setup using a tripod. We're going to start with a tripod. Now I know this can be a little intimidating if you haven't seen one or used one before because there's a lot of knobs and levers and just things going on, but we're going to break it down, and by the end of this hopefully you won't feel as intimidated and able to do it yourself. So the first thing you do when you grab a tripod, take it out of the bag, obviously. I don't have the bag, I already did that. Okay, open the legs. Okay, if you notice, I just pulled the legs apart and they all came out at the same time, which is great. That makes it super easy. So you pull the legs apart and then you'll want to extend the legs. And you'll do this by releasing the three levers that you see on the bottom of the feet. I typically recommend starting with the bottom one since it makes it a little easier and you don't have to bend all the way down if you start with the top one. So you'll release them until you reach your desired height, one at a time. And we're going to do all three because these tripods tend to be a little on the shorter side. Okay. And three. And you're going to obviously want to do this on all three legs. Alright, so once you've done that, put your tripod on the ground, approximately where you want it, and get ready to go. To point out a few of the features and knobs on the tripod that can be a little confusing, there's this little knob right here, and what this one does is it allows you to add extra height to the tripod by pulling the head up. So if you loosen it, by turning it counterclockwise to the left, yes. It allows you to extend the head like so. Tightening it holds the head in place so that if you do extend the head and you put a camera or a webcam on top, it doesn't come crashing down because you don't want to do that. But we're not going to do this today, so we're just going to push it down and tighten it back up. All right. This knob right here, the one just above it, allows you to more easily turn and pan the head back and forth. This one you typically don't want so tight that it doesn't move, but you don't want it so loose that it's constantly shifting on you either. So right about here, maybe a little looser, is pretty good. Finally, a good one to note is this little lever at the top on the head. So you pull this out. It's a little tight, but it does pull out right here. If you pull that out, it allows you to take the head off of the tripod, which makes it a lot easier to attach to a camera or a webcam. So we're going to start with this. Now that we've taken the head off, we're going to attach it to a webcam. So here's our webcam. I'm going to unwind the wire. Okay. And then on the head of the tripod, you'll see a screw, and on the bottom of the webcam, you'll see a hole. Line up the screw with the hole of the webcam and screw it in place. On the bottom of the tripod head, you'll see a little metal screw. Use that to screw it into the tripod. This makes it a lot easier rather than trying to turn the webcam all the way around. All right, and once you've attached that, open the lever back up on the tripod and slide the head back into place. Close the lever back up just to hold it in place, and you're good to go. So that's how you attach a webcam to a tripod. The next step in a webcam setup is to connect the webcam to your computer. Typically, we will give you a USB extension cable because it gives you a little bit more reach since the webcam cables are a little short by themselves. This one is 6 feet, which is just perfect for the distance we'll be using today. So plug in your USB extension cable to the webcam USB, and then plug in your USB cable to the computer. Every classroom is a little bit different on campus, but typically there are 2, maybe 3 places to plug in a USB cable. The most common one, there is usually a white or tan USB cord sticking up from the podium somewhere near the computer. That's usually the best place to plug in a webcam or tripod. The second best place to plug in a webcam or tripod, or any USB for that matter, in classroom computers, is into the computer, not the monitor, but the computer itself. So at the base of the podium, you'll either see a full Dell computer, a mini Mac that's hidden behind a whole bunch of stuff, or a mini Dell machine, which will have at least one, sometimes two USB ports for you to plug in your webcam to. This computer has a mini Mac, so we're going to plug this into the USB port on the mini Mac in the base of the computer. Typically, the USB ports in the monitors up here, typically those do not work. They're inactive, so I do not recommend plugging into those. So we're going to plug this in. And that is it. Alright, the final step. So you've had your meeting, it's gone well, you've have your camera set up, everybody could see and hear everything, hopefully. Alright, when you're finished, shut down your Zoom meeting, shut down the computer, make sure everything's ready to go, then unplug the webcam from the computer. Unplug the webcam from the USB extension cable. And detach the webcam from the tripod. You're going to do this in the same way that you attached it. So you're going to unhinge the lever from the head of the tripod, lift up the head, unscrew the head using the little metal screw on the bottom, turning it counterclockwise this time. Place the head back on the tripod and close the lever back up. Right? So those are the first few steps to put the tripod back. You're going to close the legs. Lifting these middle hinges is a good way to close all of the legs at the same time. And then you're going to move the legs up one by one. And final step is to just push the head down so that it's a little bit more compact and put it back in the bag. And then you're ready to go and you can return your supplies to the tech lab. I do have a second tripod to show you today. It's a little bit different than the first. Very similar setup, but it has a few different features that I want to point out. So this tripod doesn't, when you pull out the legs, they do not all come out at once. They all come out individually. So you have to pull them all out separately, which can be a little bit of a pain. The other big difference, there are three big differences. First, the legs. The second big difference is the head of this tripod. So the first one was a traditional head. It just kind of panned up and down, left and right, had very few directions that you can move it. This one has a ball head, so you can move it in like 360 degrees, essentially. Wherever you need this thing to point, it will point. The other big difference is how the head, this part right here, is removed. On the first one, it was a lever that we were able to detach. On this one, that we're able to detach and pop off. On this one, there's a screw, and you have to unscrew it, and the head, if you notice it slides, it will loosen the head, and you can slide it right out and slide it back in. So I'm just going to show you how to set this one up fairly quickly and to show you what some of the different levers and knobs are on this one. So again, to set it up, pull out the legs, step one. Step two, release the feet and adjust them put them to your desired height. You have to do this one by one, and it is good to note that on this one, the legs have a tendency to close, so you want to watch your fingers so that they don't get pinched. If you notice, I'm holding the legs apart with my fingers like so. This just keeps them apart so that they don't pinch my hand and keep it closed. It is highly uncomfortable. Try to avoid that. All right, so you do legs, and you're good. Okay. Like on the other tripod, the lever down here, if you loosen it by turning it counterclockwise, it allows you to extend the height of your tripod. And again, tightening it holds it in place so that it doesn't drop down when you don't want it to. All right, but for now, we're going to let it drop. All right. The knob right here, this big one, makes it easier for you to swivel the top, the head. All right, so you want to tighten that just a little bit so that you can still move it, but so that it doesn't slide whenever you don't want it to. On the back, right here, this little knob, this one allows you to pan the head back and forth more easily. Again, you want this one a little tight so that you can still move it, but not so tight that it doesn't move at all. All right, so we'll say right about there it's good. So that's about it. Again, to remove the head, you'll adjust this, loosen it up, pull it out, and you'll attach it to the webcam, same way you did the other one. You'll use the screw on the bottom, right here. Just line up the screw with the hole in the webcam, and then use the little screw on the bottom to screw it into place. And then you'll just reattach, tighten the knob back up, and you're good to go. To close up this webcam, similar, just reverse your steps, close up the legs, put the legs back into their shortened position, and close up the webcam as best as you can. On this one, you'll try to line up there's a little hole right here, a little cutout. Try to line it up so that it falls down in between the cutout, like so. All right, and that's it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come by the tech lab, and we'll be more than happy to show you how to do this in person. I hope this puts you at ease and you feel more comfortable setting up your own webcams and tripods from now on. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.